And so play games like that. Identify things that you don't have strong resistance about. That was the point of blue glass. Nobody has negative emotion against blue glass. You're not usually pushing against butterflies unless you've eaten too many. Find something and activate it, and then watch what happens next. It's happening to you all the time. If you were making lists of the things that you just softly thought about that you weren't worried about, and then you notice how much it's showing up, detail after detail after detail. The law of attraction is so capable and accurate and responsive to your vibrations on so many levels of your being. And so as you know that and do something deliberate about that, then in time you can ask for whatever you want. You reach the point where it's actually easier to start with something that you don't have at all and attract it than it is to attract something that you've been wanting to attract, that you've been expecting not to attract for a while. You just have to figure out where you are on the sliding scale. How strong is the desire and how strong is the resistance? If the desire is really, really strong, this is a little side note that we're going to give you carefully. If your desire is strong enough, it almost doesn't matter what you believe, because your desire will bring you what you want. We just don't think you should have to struggle and suffer so much to get it. Your life is helping you to know what you want. You don't have to work at that. Step 1, ask. That comes easily. Step 2, source is answering, because your inner being is focused upon what you've asked for with an undivided point of focus. So it's given. It becomes the vibrational seeds of everything that you're asking for instantaneously. Your part is part 3, where you have to find a way to no longer resist what it is, which means by stop taking score of what is, by looking to where you're going rather than to where you are. It's like if you got into your automobile, it's a fortunate thing that your windshield isn't in the floorboard. How'd that be to drive down the road just looking right where you are? It's ridiculous, we know, but that's how a lot of you are living life. You don't look up, you don't look out, you don't look over. You're just looking at what is and looking at what is and talking about what is and complaining about what is and worrying about what is and recreating what is. People say, I thought you said I can't stand still. And we say, you're not standing still. You're just bringing it back again and again and again and again and again. Different places, different faces, different neighbors, different walls, different things that you're worried about, getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because you haven't shifted the way you feel. Got to find a way to shift the way you feel. And so we said earlier to someone, you can't get there from there. And we want to clarify that. We're not talking about you can't get from that place to that place, or from that economic situation to that economic situation, or from that physical diagnosis to that physical diagnosis. We're not saying you can't get from the manifestation to the manifestation. We're saying you can't get to the manifestation that you choose from the emotion that doesn't match it. You've got to find the emotion that matches what you want. It's like the gas gauge on your car. It's showing empty. And you don't put a happy face sticker over it because you can't bear to look at it. You understand it's helpful and you go get some fuel. So it's the same thing. When you feel negative emotion, don't put a happy face sticker over it. Don't pretend that it's otherwise, and don't try to get other people to agree with you. Instead, do something about the way you feel about that. And when the way you feel shifts, you'll let the stuff in that you're asking for, no matter what the subject is. Clear enough?
Sometimes I feel like I struggle with that emotion part.
But think what you just did. You just did the opposite of what we encouraged. And it's all right because you're facing reality. But I struggle with that. I struggle with that. We know you do. And we don't want you to struggle. We want you to find ease. But when you're telling it like it is and telling it like it is and telling it like it is, and we know why you do that. There are people all around you demanding that you tell it like it is. It's like you've got to face reality. What's wrong with you? You got your head in the clouds. What's wrong with you? Well, don't try to explain this to them, but you think to yourself, it's not that there's something wrong with me. It's that I'm now understanding why I've been standing in a similar place for so long. Because I keep noticing this and talking about this and fussing over this and taking action Do you know, we love you so much. Most people offer most of their action to try to compensate for vibration they haven't shifted. It's futile. No wonder it feels like a struggle. If you haven't shifted the way you feel, there's not enough action in the world to really get it the way you want it to be. Boyfriends come and go and come and go and come and go. Why do they always leave me? Why do they always leave me? Why don't they stay? Well, there's a reason. How come I don't get paid as much as the other people at my job? How come? I'm better at it. I'm more dedicated. I'm more deserving. Why doesn't it change for me? 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 You should see your vortex version. It changed every time you complained. It got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And you know why you got ornerier and ornerier and ornerier and ornerier? Because it changed, but you didn't. You got to find ways to let it in. And the clue is you feel relief when you stop pulling against it. So we're not encouraging you to smile more. That's the happy face sticker. Or to use better sounding words. We're asking you to find a way to feel better about it or don't think about it. Now, you can want all kinds of things. And if you're not thinking in opposition to those things, they'll come. That's why we teach meditation. It's easier. We love you so much. It's easier to teach you to have no thought than to have pure positive thought. Because the law of attraction is dishing back up to you what you usually think about that. Don't you know each other so well to know when I say this to so-and-so, they're going to say this back to me? Don't you just know? You always say that to me. You always say that to me. Well, they always say that to you, but what are you going to do now? Since you know they always say that to you, what are you going to do? We call it getting out ahead of it. Plan for where you're going and plan for what you're going to be doing and get out ahead of it. Get your juices going first. Sort of prime the pump. You ever siphon gas out of your car or someone else's? Have to kind of suck on it for a little while to get it going, and once you do, it really will flow. You can fill a whole gas can up with it. Good?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.